Hey, what is going on? Of course, to all of my alternative adult book connoisseurs out there, it is me, of course, your lovely host here, Amira Blaze. And welcome back, guys, to my comeback episode of Bookshade. Okay, so I'm gonna have to kind of reintroduce the show because I haven't done it in a while. Okay, so of course I am Amira Blaze, guys. I am a avid reader. Oh my gosh, I am so obsessed, guys, like with the romance genre, but in particular, I like to read the steamiest, the hottest, the naughtiest, the kinkiest romance books. I enjoy that type of stuff. But besides all that, I also enjoy reading paranormal romance. So especially anything with vampires. Troll. And then I swoon so hard for the vampire daddies, let me tell you. But I digress. So on top of that, we also talk about like adult mangas and manga. And just, this is a more mature, as they would call me, a mature booktuber type of program. So yeah, that's what we do here on Bookshade, and I do the show twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But when I'm off, or like when I have a day off of work, or let's say I finish a book and it's not a Tuesday or Thursday, I'll just like update the show and do that. So without further ado, guys, here, give me one moment. I'm gonna turn my fan on because I am sweating really bad and I got all this glitter and I'm like, we're not having that. So all right, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm gonna turn on my fan here quick. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting it's like I go through crazy temperature changes, guys. It's like hot, cold, and I noticed my makeup started to sweat a little bit. I was like, oh no. It's a pain in the ass to keep glitter on my eyelid. So I don't want the glitter to start coming all over my face. I'd be looking ugly as fuck. Okay. But I digress, guys. Today we have a very jam-packed episode of Bookshade. This is probably, guys, one of the craziest, steamiest, to me, wildest books I have ever read. Guys. So that's what's going to be coming up. We're doing my first ever steamy hot romance book review. And I also made a inspired soundtrack. So I became like a book DJ and I made this like inspired soundtrack based on the book, when I was reading it. I was like, oh, this would be a good song, and then this would be a good song as well. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today on the show, guys. So let's get to it here. Not going to waste any time. But oh my gosh, guys, this book series is so crazy. So what I'm talking about is I decided to read this book series that's known as the Bachman Daddies Mafia Billionaire romance book series, and it's 4 books that is written by Shauna Handel, and I fucking love her. She's so fucking savage, guys. Like, her characters are just in your face, balls busting, especially her very male alpha, in this particular series. But they still have like a soft side for the women that they love. So it's an interesting series. But before we get into it, of course, because we keep it real, this is Bookshade, I'm very straightforward. I have to give some trigger warnings and a disclaimer, okay? So, number 1, this book is categorized in the following tropes, okay? So you have a dominant, submissive relationship. So if you're not comfortable with that, this book is not going to be for you. There are also elements of BDSM. It's not going to be for everybody, okay? So if you're not into that, honey, this book series is not going to be for you. The sex scenes are very detailed and like, detailed, okay? So if you're not into that, and that's not your type of romance books that you like to read, this series is definitely not going to be for you. And another important thing that I have to mention too, this is something, if you're not familiar with this trope that is called the Mafia romance genre, or sometimes it's called like because sometimes there's Mafia romance books, but then there are also romance books that are written with other types of like organized crime. I always like to give this disclaimer as well, is that a lot of times when you read these Mafia romances, it really glamorizes this lifestyle and this culture. And I always have to mention, I've done some research while I'm reading these books. I like to do research and stuff, and this is the fantasy, okay? So as a disclaimer, if you're going into organized like crime and Mafia romance books, it is a fantasy, okay? The reality, okay, of Mafia and organized crime in regards to these books is a completely different experience. So I want to recognize that. And it's not as glamorous as you see in these books, okay? It can be very intense at times, just from the research that I have read, because I'm really am interested in learning more about like, for example, the Mafia marriage culture. That's what I did some research on. Very interesting, like, rules and things. Like, there's a lot of things that women can do and cannot do, okay? So it's not as glamorous as you think, okay? So I always have to give that disclaimer, because a lot of times when people start to read Mafia romances or organized crime romances, it's not as romantic as you think, okay? From the research that I've done, it's not as easy. It's not the easy lifestyle that these books make it out to be. So I have to recognize that, it's a serious thing, okay? So all the disclaimers set aside, let's get into it here. We're going to be doing a review and commentary and book soundtrack as well to Shanna Handel's book number 1, and it's called Daddy. You have to say it like that, okay? Like, you have to. I mean, I can't just say like Daddy. I have to say Daddy, okay? You have to say it like that, because it's meant to be, it's the name of the book. I had to make it sound sexy, okay? So once again, guys, Daddy is book number 1 of a series of books by Shanna Handel, and it's called the Bachman Daddies book series. There are 4 in all. So you have Daddy, you have Say Daddy, you have Daddies, and then the final book is her Mafia Daddies, okay? So these books, guys, we gonna get into it. It is something. I mean, guys, I read this book in 2 days. That's how much invested I was in this storyline. I'll also go over like reviews of what other people were mentioning and things like that, and then we'll just like conclude to let you guys know if the Bachman Daddies series is really worth your time, okay? So in book 1 here, Daddy, as it's simply called, you have 2 main protagonists, okay? So you have Charlotte, and then you have her older love interest, who is Eli. And Eli, he is something else, okay? We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a moment, okay? So what happens is Eli and Charlotte, they pretty much grew up together, and they were pretty much close friends, okay? Now Charlotte, she wants something more, okay? Isn't that usually the case, where it's like you have a guy friend and you're like attracted to them in that type of scenario, and you're like, man, I want more, but then he's like, the guy, your guy friend that you're attracted to is just like, never mind. You know how men are sometimes, but I digress. So they pretty much, very well acquainted. They were close friends. But the problem for Charlotte is that Eli only sees Charlotte as like, as just a friend, pretty much like a sister figure. If you really think about it, that's like how, they're not related, but they hung around each other enough that they were close. But to Charlotte, Charlotte is like obsessed with Eli, like obsessed. Like obsessed. And there are moments in the book where even Eli is just like, your attraction to me is so intense, like you like a stalker. I always love this, guys. I always end up like watching an anime or reading a book where it's like the girl is like super stalker. When usually sometimes it's the other way around, where it's like the guy who's like obsessed with the woman. So this is interesting to see it in reverse. Okay, so she has more than like a crush on him. I mean, she wants him for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and brunch. Okay, so then we move forward, guys, and what ends up happening is Eli, he's got success, but he's not your normal type of man. Okay, so Eli is actually in the mafia. Okay, he's a made man, as they would say. Okay, and Charlotte is okay with this because she worked in a company that is mafia owned, so she's all she knows the like some of the ins and outs and stuff. And her father also works for a mafia based business as well. Okay, so what makes this book really interesting though, guys, is that Charlotte, she's just like, what, this the man. I gotta have me some Eli. I need him for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and brunch. I gotta have him, and that's that. No other woman is going to have him. But Eli, look, man, Eli, he got some like player tendencies, because he'll find a woman and then like a couple months later he's just like not feeling it. And that's the thing I like about this book, is you get both of their perspectives. So sometimes it's in the mindset of Eli, and then other times it's in the mindset of what Charlotte is thinking. But to be honest, I love reading Eli's versus Charlotte, because like Charlotte just sounds so like, oh, I really want him, like that kind of thing. And Eli, he's just like, look, man, I got tons of women who be liking me. He knows he knows he's sexy. He knows he feeling himself. Okay, so I digress though. Okay, so what ends up happening, guys, is Charlotte, she ends up acting a fool, guys, at what ends up happening here is there's a Bachman function. Okay, so the Bachmans are very well respected mafia family. Okay, and Eli himself, he's like, look, I want to get to a made man kind of higher status, and I want to work my way up. It's called through the ranks, where you're working your way up to the ranks so you get higher and higher in the organization. Okay, so what ends up happening is that Charlotte goes to this function, and like she acting a fool, guys. I mean, she was taking one drink and just turned up to the max. Okay, mad embarrassing. So Eli sees this, and he's like, oh hell no, like this is embarrassing. Oh, you're not doing this to me, and you making your father look bad. Because if there's one thing, guys, once you start reading like mafia romances and stuff, one thing you'll learn is that, and this is just from my research too, is that when it comes to like the mafia or any type of organized crime, loyalty and reputation is everything. So the way that your family acts and the people around you act is the way that like other people and other families, will see you as well. So, and even within the family, respect and loyalty is everything. Okay. And I love the fact that the author, you could tell that she did a lot of research, because there was a lot of correlations to what I was researching about like the mafia and organized crime, and how it correlated to the book. It was pretty decent. So she's acting a fool, getting all turned up, and he's like, nope, we're not having this. So he grabs her and he's like, what are you doing, right? And she's like, I'm just having fun, typical drunk. typical drunk, acting wild, you know, young lady, acting a fool. So he grabs her and he's like, we not having this. And he gives her an ultimatum. And pretty much, pretty much, he's like, you either take a, you know, I either give you a spanking, ooh, how naughty, right? Or I'm gonna, you know, have you tell your father what you were doing, and it could potentially mess up his reputation besides your reputation, okay? And she's like, no, I don't want that. And then she just straight up is like, okay, you can, like, you know, spank me. And guys, let me tell you, when Eli spanks her, it is intense. Like, I was sitting there, I was like, ow, 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 ow. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, guys, you think 50 Shades of Grey is intense? Oh no, Daddy takes it up a level. Like, it's, I'm like, this is painful. Like, man, Charlotte, ooh, okay, but apparently she likes it. So hey, different strokes for different folks, okay? So what ends up happening is Charlotte can tell that Eli is, like, you know, feeling her and attracted to her, and I mean, he even kisses her, right? And then, guys, the magical word slips out of her mouth and she calls Eli daddy. Okay, so let me clarify what this daddy term is, hence the name of the book here. Okay, so the daddy term that she uses in this context is referring to a daddy dom relationship. Okay, so this is the definition that I found on what a daddy dom relationship is, because it gets misconstrued. So typically, the daddy dom is usually an older man, and then their partner is more of like a now if you're looking, we're talking about it in the context of heterosexual couple here, but it can also apply to, like, for example, like a gay couple or a same, you know, or same-sex couple. So in this case, you have the daddy dom is the dominant man. You know, he can be, you know, alpha, but he's just very, you know, he rules in the bedroom. You know, he likes being the boss in the bedroom. So that's what a daddy dom is. And then usually the submissive could be male or female, like what I said before, but they kind of rely on the dom a little bit. But see, it depends on the context of the relationship, because sometimes, guys, the thing with these type of definitions is it depends on the type of relationship that you have too. That makes a difference. But in this case, you know, the daddy dom is the, you know, the dominant one, the one that kind of runs, you know, the leader in the bedroom a little bit. And then the male or female partner, depending, would be more of the submissive and, like, takes more of a secondary kind of role. And some women are really into this, you know, some men are also into this. But it is a very, very, very popular genre. Oh, hey, we got Ace. Hey, what's up? Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. And oh, also thank you for the book recommendation. Man, guys, you guys got my Goodreads like it's a mess. But I digress, y'all. So that is what this particular genre of books they're called. They're called daddy dom romances. They don't always get talked about because so technically the other trope that this book would fall under is age gap relationships. And I don't know why, but like age gap romances, it's like people either like them or they don't. But they're very popular. Like a lot of cisgendered women love the daddy dom romance genre. They love the alpha male, you know. But like for me, I like a confident guy, but I don't like how the alpha males are often portrayed in these books, because they're like dicks, you know. They're like really jerky, and they're like, I can have any woman I want. Like, I don't like guys like that. Like, I like, what would you say, like a wholesome, confident guy, but like, you know, not like super, super, super alpha, because like for me, I have a very, I would say my personality is like half, like I'm like half dominant, half submissive, you know. So I'm like half and half, you know. But in this type of relationship, it's him being the, you know, that runs the narrative in the bedroom, and then the submissive kind of goes with it, you know. But it depends on your relationship, so I gotta be clear about that. So in their relationship, like, she is, you know, the submissive, and then he is the dom, you know. So she just slips out the word and like calls him and calls him that, and he's all like, ooh, and I like woke some heat up in his body or something. So then what ends up happening is, then I couldn't believe this. Okay, so then after that, like, Charlotte is just like, I can't get enough of Daddy, you know, of Eli, you know, as his name is. And she's like, this is it. I really want him, and I know there's something there. But then what ends up happening is he's like, I can't go there with you, you know? And pretty much like refuses her, and like her heart was broken, y'all. Like super broken. So moving a little bit forward here, what ends up happening is she decides, being the smart woman that she decides, you know what, I'm gonna infiltrate a mafia compound to go see Eli. Okay, so Eli, he has like a conversation with the boss. His name is Rocklin, and Rocklin is married to a woman named Tess. And Tess, she's a boss bitch. She is like everything, okay? But there's an interesting caveat, guys, in this book series. For me, it wasn't my cup of tea. So this is coming directly from the book here. So it says, in a Bachman marriage, the man leads and the woman follows. If she goes against her husband's wishes, she is punished in all kinds of ways. But that doesn't make these women doormats. Only the strongest kind of woman can be married to a member of the Brotherhood. So I'm trying to understand that paragraph, because I'm like, okay, well, Tess is Rocklin's, Eli's boss, like kind of the boss, in the story. And Tess is very strong. Like, she really listens to, you know, her, like, Rocklin really like listens to her. But that's the only thing that was a downside to me of this book, is I just didn't like that women were kind of seen as like just like doormats, you know. Now in this series, the main family that's being focused on in this book is the Bachman family. And the women that are married to men that are in the Brotherhood, because the Brotherhood is considered like the elite, you know, of the gangsters. So they're married to women that are called the Bachman beauties. Now these women, their hair is coiffed to perfection, nails done right, outfit, everything looking good, body popping, you know. They're like the best of the women, and these are the women that they deem are worthy to marry someone within the Brotherhood. But see, in this situation between Eli and Charlotte's very unconventional. I mean, yeah, you know, she can look the part, of course, but you know, she's got like curly hair, you know, she's kind of geeky a little bit, you know. And like Eli, just maybe because of that, he can't like see her beyond that. But she's determined, guys. She is determined. So this fool, Charlotte, decides, you know what? I'm going to go to the village. The village, guys, is this high security complex compound where the Bachmans and everybody within their family resides. And she decides, I'm going to go infiltrate it so that I can go see Eli. Really smart. Not a good idea. So she goes ahead and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna, I'm gonna break in and go see him. But little did she know there were cameras everywhere. Like, what, you thought they were idiots? Like, come on now. So I'll leave it there because I don't want to spoil the rest of it. But guys, let me tell you, after she broke in and she's gonna deal with some consequences. But let's just say, guys, the plot twist in this book, it will blow your mind. You're like, what? Like, what? And just, I love reading just the mindset of Eli, because Eli, he's just like, yeah, oh, hey, thanks so much for the follow, JD, what's up? And JD says, yo, okay. Welcome to the program, of course. Excuse me, guys. And we have This Fist, hey, what's up? And we have MILF, hey, what's up? Hey, I hope to be a MILF someday. That would be nice. Or as Fergie would say, I got that MILF money, And This Fit says, what are we talking about? I am doing a book review on this series that is called the Bachman Daddies series by Shanna Handel. It is a Mafia billionaire romance book series. And yeah, I'm having a good time. I was just explaining a little bit of the synapses, but excuse me. So then what ends up happening, guys, is the plot twist of the century. And let's just say it changes the dynamic in Charlotte and, Eli, and how they see each other. But will they get together, though? You'll just have to read it and find out what happens. But guys, there's some action. But this series, a lot of times in Mafia romance series, I love that there's like an action, like there's some kind of battle and the families are fighting and like there's some kind of drama there. And I'm just like, ooh, this is juicy, But this book series, it's a standalone book, okay? So there's no like connection to like the other books in per se. So it's not like you have to read this one and then read the other in succession. But the nice thing I do like about this, it's concise. Like, guys, it's literally like a novella if you really think about it. It's only like 174 pages. Like, if you're an avid quick reader, you could finish it in like a excuse me. You could finish it in like an hour if you read if you read pretty fast or whatever. You guys are so crazy and funny. Yeah, apparently MILF says that I have 4 necks. And hey, nothing wrong with lesbians, man. I mean, different strokes for different folks. But the question that I'm probably gonna answer here on the show one day is, I just want to find out why a lot of straight men are obsessed with lesbians, though. Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out too. Like, I'm trying to figure that out, because I'm like, lesbians, that means they're attracted to women, but a lot of men read lesbian romance books. I've noticed that. So I'm gonna do some research to like kind of get the answer to that question. But I wonder that, But all right, MILF, thanks so much for checking out the show here. But I'm gonna have to let you go, my friend. I'm so sorry. Bye. But and Tapeless, hey, what's up? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to let you go too. And also This Fist, I'm sorry, gonna have to let you go as well. So, if you guys are gonna come to my show, you guys have to be, respectful. I would really appreciate that. But getting back into it here. But yeah, overall, this book is interesting. Now, it's not gonna have like the action like I was talking about, like, the families fighting, that kind of thing. It's mainly focused on Eli and Charlotte's relationships and their like or relationship and their like trials and tribulations. So if you just want something that's like a quick read and it's got some steamy hot scenes in there, I mean, there's BDSM, there's spanking up in there, there's a whole bunch of other stuff where I'm just like, man, that's hot, you know. And and JD is asking if I am Jewish. No, I'm not, but I love Jewish men though. Shout outs to the Jewish guys, y'all are sexy, and the Italian guys too, y'all are sexy as well. Shout outs to just European men in general, like yes squad, okay, like y'all is sexy. I'm just, yes, you know, I like older men, so hence why I'm reading this. But yeah, this book series is crazy. Like some of the scenes are the like sex scenes, I'm reading it and I'm just like, woo. Well, all right, go on with your bad self, you know. So I would say overall, Daddy, if you're expecting, like I said, a really deep, thorough type of read, and it's got like, you know, the romance scenes, it's got the mafia action sequences and stuff, you're not gonna get that. And actually throughout, like I would say by the time I got to like the middle of the book, it just kind of stopped. They stopped kind of talking about it, and then they just focused on Eli and Charlotte's relationship and, you know, all of that. But there are some intense moments. For me though, I didn't like the fact that Charlotte, as the protagonist, she is really submissive, like really submissive. I mean, he's like, you know, there's like a scene where he's just like, hey, you know, you messed up and I'm gonna have to like spank you, and she's just like, okay. And I'm just like, you know, I like my female characters to have a little bit of fight, you know, just a little bit of, you know, pizzazz, you know. So if you're not into like, you know, strong female protagonists, this book series, you will, I don't think you'll appreciate this particular book. But if you like people like Tess is really cool. That's Rockland's wife. And there's also, I believe that's her friend, is Victoria. I like her because she's super spunky. And, you know, she's like, I want to get myself, you know, a successful man for the Brotherhood. And he doesn't even have to love me. I just want to be a Bachman beauty. And I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, get your life, Victoria. You know what you want with your independent self. You know, I appreciate, you know. But overall, if I could give it a rating, though, I would say the rating for Daddy by Shayna Handel. This is book 1 in the Bachman Daddies series. I would have to give it the rating of probably worth, like I would say worth your time. Because to me, it's not a masterpiece, you know, where, you know, I've read it and I want to read it again. But I would say it's worth your time because it is interesting to, you know, read about the dynamics of like what it takes to be a Bachman beauty. And, you know, how women, you know, are treated within their mafia family, you know. And then I was wondering myself, like, you know, could I be that submissive to my husband like that? Like, if he tells me to jump, I jump. I don't think you know, that's not me, you know. You know, but she is very complacent. And there are parts in the book though where he's just like, I gotta train her to, you know, be the, you know, to understand the rules, which I get it because he's just trying to protect her, you know, considering the lifestyle and the, you know, the stuff he does. You know, it's a risky job, so he's just, you know, seeking her best interest. But I just didn't like the way he like portrayed it, and like she didn't have any freedom, guys. Like she would want to go do something and then he would like punish her. He would like punish her, and I'm just like, really, you know. But yeah, if you're looking for something that's, you know, just a nice, quick, steamy read, definitely check it out. It's called Daddy, all right, by Shayna Handel. And yeah, I just love it. I just love that. Like when when Charlotte calls Eli that, oh my gosh, like he just gets so hot and bothered. He's all like, yes, princess. And I'm like, yes, you know. Like, I would call my man daddy. I would. I mean, it's not, it's sexy. That's just me, though. I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, if you have read this series, or if you've read other Mafia romance series and stuff, I got one. Y'all, I got one that I have on my bookshelf. It is muy caliente, okay? It's very interesting. I'm also going to be doing, coming up this week, I'll be doing my reaction to watching 365 Days. Oh my god. I heard so much about that movie and how intense and crazy it was. I was like, okay, I gotta do a reaction to me, like, watching it, like, do a live reaction to it. But yeah, if you're looking for something quick and steamy, and you like Mafia romances where the man is, much older, like the daddy level, then you will appreciate Daddy, okay, by Shayna Handel. If you've read this, or if you have any other Mafia romance, recommendations, let me know. Let me know in that vicious yet brutally honest comment section below, okay? So, moving on from that, guys, let's get into the soundtrack part. When I was reading this book, what songs was I thinking about? And I actually have a link below to the playlist that I put together. So, if you decide to read this book, you can listen to it and see if it, like, correlates or whatever. So, all right. So, the first song that I thought of in regards to this book, okay, in case you are not familiar with her, guys, you really should get to know Seven Streeter. She, by far, like Victoria Monet, some of the most underrated R&B singer-songwriters of our time. Seven Streeter is great. Now, if you're not familiar with her, she did do a song with Chris Brown that was called Won't Stop, and that did blow up. But you may know her prior to that. She was in a small girl group that was called Rich Girl, which I fucking loved. And she's so great. Like, she's super nice and gorgeous, right? Look at her, like, fucking sexy. And, I really appreciate her. And also, being a darker complected woman, like, we don't, like, being darker complected myself, guys, we don't always get seen as, like, being sexy, being attractive, and being taken seriously like that. And she really raised that bar, and she's still making music. Like, I saw she made a music video, it was called Kisses, and guys, she looked snatched. Her body was popping. I was just like, this is why I am putting together my ab machine. I would like to look, hopefully, something like that. But I would have to have, like, the best, I would have to have, like, the best chef in the world to, like, slim down, like, and maybe, she's naturally beautiful, guys, but, like, I would need tons of plastic surgery to look like this, okay, bitch? But this is from one of her underrated albums. It's called Girl Disrupted. And the songs that I would recommend off of this album is, she has 2 hits off of this album, and it's called My Love for You. And literally in the song, it's kind of like this admiration. She says, like, she's like, you're the only one for me, in a way. I'm paraphrasing it, and she's like, there's no competition, I'm saving all my love for you. And that's how I feel sometimes Charlotte is with Eli, because she's like, I don't want any other man. Like, she's like, I tried, and I just want you, So she's like laser focused, like RoboCop laser focused, So that song, and I would also say Before I Do, where, it's pretty much, the song kind of talks about, like, the man that she likes has a girlfriend. It's kind of rumored that he has a girlfriend, and she's like, well, before I dip in there with you and fall in love with you, I hope all the conditions are right. And sometimes Charlotte feels like that in the book, so that's why I recommend Girl Disrupted. It's a great album, guys. It's so fucking savage. Like, I listen to it at least once a month. It's really, really good. I really like her. And she writes a lot of songs, guys, you'd be surprised, that are like hits, you know. But it's really sad that, you know, her as an artist, she didn't really take off like I feel like she deserves she does. Just like Victoria Monet, she's an amazing singer too, guys. Go check out her EP, Row Jaguar. It's really good, guys. It's really good, especially if you're into more of that like vintage kind of R&B sound. You would like Victoria Monet. Now, Seven Streeter, she's more of that like 2000s like contemporary R&B, but it's still really fucking good. Yeah, she's savage. Okay, so of course she is the it woman right now, Saweetie. Okay, this is one of her older songs, came out in 2019. You know, it's like, that's my type, that's my type, I be running that dick all night. Like, Saweetie has no filter, man. She's just like, I need me an 8-figure man. He better have it correct before I be on that dick. Oh, she is something else. But I just love her. Like, she just has these balls busting, straightforward, super raunchy lyrics, you know. But the song that I picked was My Type. This is coming off, I think this is like her EP or album or whatever. It was called Icy. But yeah, she made it clear what type of men that she's into. But you know, I am glad that women are being like this now. It's good for men to know, like, hey, you know, this is what I want. Just like how men say, like, okay, these are the type of women I'm into. It's good to hear it from the women too, being like, okay, I need me a man with the 8-figure or whatever you're into. But yeah, I love that song. Like, pretty much she took a sample from PD Pablo's Freaka Leak, and you know, she just kind of put her twist on it in a way. But yeah, I like it. It's really good. She's something else. This man, Saweetie, she's something else. Now there also is a really decent remix. It features the City Girls as well as Janae Aiko, so go check that out. But I put the original one. It's pretty short song though. All right, next, she is also the it girl, the it woman right now, and you know, BITCH, you know, that's what you gonna call me anyway. Meg Thee Stallion, okay, and of course this is a song, Bitch. I don't know what's with these young women now. They give zero fucks. Like, they let these guys know. They're just like, if you're not doing this, I ain't interested. You can call me a bitch. That's what you gonna call me anyway. So that's why I picked this song, is because I felt it really correlated with the book. Is because a lot of times, like, when women, you know, we're confident or we're really secure in like what we want, there's just some men that will just call us bitches because of that, or they will assume that, you know, we're only with them because of their status and stuff. And this is why it's important to the ladies out there, you know, to the you know, the upcoming, you know, young women and men out here. This is why, and especially to my young men and women of color, this is why education is important. You know, it really helps to, you know, change the narrative for you, you know, and you can have your own success. So, you know, so it's good to do that. You know, that's just my opinion. But that's what this song reflects, is a lot of times women, we do get called bitches, you know, by not all men, but by some men, you know, because maybe some of these men just assume like, oh, hey, you know, you only with me because of my money and my status or whatever. But the song, what it shows is she's like, hey, you can call me a bitch, but I got my own shit, so I'm good, you know, and we can be together. And, you know, but or you know, I can move on. I'm my own woman, you know. So yeah, it's a really good song. I actually enjoy it. But there are moments where Charlotte does feel like that in the book, where she's just like, you know, is Eli really going to hold it down for me, or is he not? Like, he needs to make up his mind, you know. But that's what I thought of. Like, Meg Thee Stallion, guys, you know, whether you love her or hate her, I give her props, man. You know, 2020 was a very interesting year for her. And then on top of that, guys, she is an MC. Okay, she writes her lyrics and everything, and like her freestyle, guys, I'm telling you, like, you can ignore her like music videos and all that. Just check out her freestyle. She is the real deal. She's like one of my favorite MCs right now because she's just so savage, and she don't, you know, she's unapologetic about it. She's like, you know what, I'm a bad bitch, you know, like she's like, I know that, I know my shit, you know, and she holds herself accountable for that, you know. She's well educated as well, guys. She did go to college too, so I do respect her, and I appreciate her, you know, in regards to that. And she's very, you know, she's so female empowering, but she's empowering to anybody that, you know, maybe you've been through things in your life and you feel like you're a failure. Megan Thee Stallion, guys, she's proof of that. You know, she took her negative situations and issues that she was dealing with, and she turned it into a career. And look at her now. She's everywhere, guys. Everywhere. And it's not only because, you know, yeah, she's gorgeous, you know, that helps, but if you look beyond that, she's super talented. Like, her freestyle, guys, look it up. Just look up Meg Thee Stallion freestyle. It will blow your mind. She's just like straight fire. Bars. Like, she is, man, she's something else. But yeah, I did put that bitch on there. But this is an artist that I don't hear a lot of people really talking about, except if you're really like a music head. This is a Canadian DJ. I am obsessed with his music. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. His name is K Tronada. Guys, like, if you're into neo soul with like futuristic, like electronica music, like, and like hip hop, he like puts it in this like smorgasbord blender of greatness. And K Tronada, this is off of his second album. It's called Bubba, and look at the cover. This cover is so sick. I love this. I'm gonna be doing a review on this for sure because it's a great album, guys. Like, and I know my show, you know, I focus mainly on rock and metal, but like metalheads, we're very eclectic people, so we listen to other genres besides rock and metal. But I found his music, guys, like literally by mistake. And what happened is, in case you guys don't know, I am obsessed with dance choreography. I love watching like dance choreography, like videos and things. Like, I like moving, you know. It may not look like it, but you know, I like to, you know, move a little bit. And I saw this fabulous dance routine. This is what kind of put him on the map. Is he did this bomb remix of If by Janet Jackson, and I saw like a dance choreography that featured it, and I was like, who is this artist? Like, this is an amazing remix. And then I found out it's K Tronada, and then I started reading about him, and then I started listening to the rest of his catalog. It's great, guys. He is so underrated. Like, I mean, he should be up there with people like David Guetta. That's how talented this man is. He's super talented. So off of his this is his current release called Bubba. I picked this song called The Worst in Me, which features my lady. I love her, Tinashe. Oh, I feel so bad for Tinashe. Tinashe, she's the total package. I mean, she looks good and she can sing the house down. I just don't know why she didn't really blow up. I mean, yeah, she had her album called Aquarius, and she had that song Tuon that blew up. But then after that, like, people were not checking for her that much, and I felt so bad for her. But she did a great song on here, The Worst in Me. I've been listening to it, guys, nonstop. The beat is sexy. I actually put the music video for it. It's super good. Like, it's super good. But yeah, this is a great, it's like, like K Tronada, the best way I can describe him too, it's like the past with the future, and you got this like really interesting blend, and he's really good with collaborations with all different types of artists. On this album, guys, I mean, he has people like Tinashe on here, Charlotte Wilson, I mean, all kinds of different voices, and it just really complements his production. And yeah, he's super talented. I don't know I don't know why more people don't know about K Tronada, but please go listen to his stuff, y'all. You will not be disappointed. So yeah, off of Bubba, the worst of me, or I think it's like the worst, no, worse than me, and then What You Need featuring Charlotte Wilson. And I would also say some of his back catalog, I like that song At All. It features these like 3 female bodybuilders. It's a really good music video. He's super creative. Like his music videos, guys, each one is different. It doesn't feel like a duplicate, you know? So that's what really makes him stand out. Like like sometimes he does vintage stuff, then sometimes he does more futuristic music videos. And I fucking love you, K Tronada. You're amazing. Like, so yeah, definitely go check out that album. It's called Bubba. All right, so yeah, those are my main recommendations for the soundtrack. I also mention, I also put some Solange, A Seat at the Table. Even though, yeah, the concept of the album, you know, it focuses on like you know, on Black women, you know, the issues we deal with, and you know, how to maybe overcome that and stuff like that. But the reason why I picked it for this book is because it's kind of, there's a correlation to that, because like there's songs like Weary, that's off of A Seat at the Table, and Solange is saying, you know, be weary of the ways of the world. And there are many times that Charlotte, she's not weary at all, you know, like she gets concerned and she starts second guessing herself, but then, you know, she gets a little psycho, I will say, you know, and sometimes she doesn't trust Eli the way that she should. And that's my thing. I feel like when you love someone, you know, and let's say you know, the relationship is getting deeper and deeper, and there's more of a deeper and deeper commitment to it. I feel you got to start really trusting that person. Unless that person breaks your trust, you know, I could understand that. But, you know, if someone really loves you, like, you need to trust that they would make good decisions. And then if they don't, then that man, woman, etc., they're not the one for you. So it's like, don't waste your time, okay? Guys, if there's one thing that I learned from this book, is time is valuable. You know, you don't want to waste your time being with someone that doesn't respect you, or, you know, that you don't really feel that love connection with, you know. But yeah, I put some Solange on there, and I have some other songs that are pretty, you know, pretty fun, that you will enjoy if you decide to read Daddy, okay, by Shayna Handel. But yeah, it was a decent book. I mean, it wasn't like the best book I've read, but I'm gonna read the rest of the series and see what happens in the future. But I have some other books. I actually have one in front of me, which is like the last book of the Vampire Kisses series. So I'm gonna finish reading that, and then I got a book that was sent for me to review. So I'm gonna read that one first, then read the last book of Vampire Kisses, and then I'll probably get back into Black Dagger Brotherhood. I'm on book 3 right now. But I gotta say though, I'm not really impressed with the book series. Like, some parts of it is really boring. Like, what you guys, you know what, that's the question of the day. You guys let me know, what is the big deal with Black Dagger Brotherhood, and why do so many romance book recommendation lists, you know, they're like, you gotta read it. There's a lot of books, guys, and then a new book just came out recently, so it's just like, what? So I mean, I have majority of the books, but I mean, so far my favorite though is, I do like Zadis. I was Team Raph for a while, but now he's just a little too jerky for me. I just can't handle that, so not my kind of man. Or as Saweetie would say, that's not my type, you know, my type, you know. But all right, guys, of course, thanks so much for watching another fabulous, really interesting episode here of Book Shade. You can keep in touch with me the following ways, guys. I am on Instagram and Twitter. Just check out, Book Shade, and all of that. So no, on Twitter, I believe, and in my Instagram, I am Bookshade number 1. Yeah, Bookshade number 1. So yeah, definitely check me out on there. And coming up again Tuesday, Thursday, I might be doing some reading vlogs, as they call it. Just because I gotta get started on this other book that I'm reading. I gotta start. I'm probably gonna start it this evening. And then once I finish that one, it's like it's a hefty one. But then after that, I'm going to read the final book in the Vampire Kisses series. But then, guys, the other book series that I'm going to be starting, ooh, it is very juicy. It's a trilogy of books, and it blew my mind. It's so well written, and the audiobooks are incredible. So I got to get back into reading those too. So yeah, I got a lot of reading to do. All right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here. But like I always say, remember that reading is Halloween. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. Take care, guys.